Red Bull just revealed numbers that could end the fight before the season even begins. Days before the Australian Grand Prix, they confirmed a major upgrade package for Verstappen's RB22, and the data is staggering. Over 2,000 laps completed in testing. 0 major mechanical failures. 4 tenths per lap faster than Ferrari in race simulations. 12 degrees cooler engine temperatures. More than 340 kilometers per hour without drag reduction system. And that was before the Melbourne upgrades were added. New blown diffuser evolution. Completely revised front wing. Refined Ford hybrid deployment. Sharper traction. Stronger race pace. This is not a minor improvement. This is a performance surge. If the estimated half-second gain per lap is real, the Australian Grand Prix could be decided by the first corner. But here is the part nobody is talking about. One hidden detail inside the Ford upgrade changes everything for Sunday, and it might explain why the paddock is already nervous. Subscribe now, because what we are about to break down could redefine the start of this entire championship. Now let's slow this down. Because before the Melbourne upgrades even arrive, the foundation already looks frightening. In Bahrain, Red Bull did not chase glory laps. They did not run headline engine modes. They focused on something much more dangerous. Control. Over 2,000 laps completed across testing. That is not just mileage. That is validation. 0 major mechanical failures. No dramatic breakdowns. No emergency rebuilds. Just consistent running. And consistency at this stage of the season is gold. But here is where things start to feel deliberate. Verstappen's fastest lap looked competitive. Not dominant. Not shocking. Just measured. Telemetry leaks suggested he was setting purple mini-sectors in the technical middle sector using a conservative power mode. Conservative. Which means there was more. Possibly a lot more. Some estimates suggest there was up to 8 tenths still hidden during certain phases of the run. 8 tenths. In modern Formula 1, that is enormous. But the real story was not raw pace. It was degradation. During long race simulations, the RB22 showed almost flat tire drop-off. Lap after lap. Minimal fall away. That changes everything. Because when your tires stay alive longer, you control strategy. You extend stints. You pressure rivals into early stops. You dictate tempo. And Melbourne rewards exactly that. Track position is critical. Clean air is everything. Now add the Ford factor. Engine temperatures reportedly ran 12 degrees cooler than expected. That is not just efficiency. That is thermal headroom. Cooler temperatures allow sustained hybrid deployment. No clipping late in the straight. No sudden power drop when defending. In Bahrain, the RB22 reached extreme top speeds without drag reduction system. That is not luck. That is integration between chassis and power unit. But here is the detail that tells you everything. On the first day of testing, Red Bull had a hydraulic issue. Several hours lost. Most teams would panic. Red Bull solved it with a software adjustment. No structural redesign. No visible stress. That signals confidence in the platform. And when your base platform is stable before race 1, upgrades become enhancements, not repairs. That is why this first phase is so important. Because everything coming to Australia is being added to a car that is already balanced, already reliable, already efficient. Not a fragile machine trying to survive. And that should worry the rest of the grid. Because if this was Red Bull holding back, what happens when they stop holding back in Melbourne? Now we move to Melbourne. Because this is where the quiet confidence turns into something much louder. Red Bull has confirmed an evolutionary package for the Australian Grand Prix. Internally, it is being referred to as Spec 1.1. And this is not a cosmetic tweak. This is a performance statement. Let us begin with the side pods. The blown diffuser concept has been refined again. Deeper undercut. More aggressive airflow channeling toward the rear floor. The hot air from the Ford power unit is no longer just being expelled. It is being used. Directed. Managed. Engine heat is helping energize the diffuser. That increases rear downforce without increasing drag. Which means more grip in medium-speed corners, without sacrificing straight-line speed. At Albert Park, that combination is lethal. Sector 2 is full of flowing, technical corners. If rear stability improves there, lap time drops instantly. But Red Bull did not stop at the rear. Because Verstappen made something very clear in testing. The car felt improved. But slow corners were not perfect. So they responded with a completely revised front wing main plane. More camber. More load at low speed. Sharper turn in response. That matters massively at Melbourne. Turn 1. Turn 3. Tight entries where confidence defines everything. If the front bites cleanly, the tires slide less. If they slide less, they overheat less. And if they overheat less, long-run consistency improves. Now connect that to the diffuser extension at the rear. A subtle modification to the crash structure improves airflow expansion. More traction on corner exit. Earlier throttle application. An earlier throttle pairs perfectly with the Ford engine refinement. Stage 2 mapping. Reduced turbo lag. Cleaner hybrid deployment. No clipping on long straights. When you stack those gains together, the numbers become serious. Side pods delivering roughly 2/10. Front wing contributing strong gains in Sector 1. Diffuser refinement improving traction in Sector 3. Total estimated improvement approaching half a second per lap. Half a second. Before the first race of the season. And remember, this is being added to a car that already showed superior long-run pace in Bahrain. That is why this second block is critical. Because Red Bull is not correcting weakness. They are amplifying strength. If Verstappen qualifies near the front, the improved traction and refined engine mapping could make the race start decisive. Instant torque. Stable rear end. Clean rotation. Control into turn 1. And once Red Bull controls the rhythm of a race, they rarely lose it. So the real tension heading into Australia is no longer whether Red Bull improved. They clearly have. The tension is whether anyone else is close enough to stop what might already be building. But here is where the situation becomes even more uncomfortable for the rest of the grid. Because what Red Bull revealed is not just performance. It is confidence. Christian Horner openly emphasized the reliability of the Ford power unit as a key factor heading into Australia. That is not something you highlight unless you trust it completely. Reliability means freedom. Freedom to push. Freedom to deploy aggressively. Freedom to control the race without fear of overheating or late race clipping. And when you combine that with what testing already suggested, the picture sharpens. Long run pace reportedly 4/10 per lap faster than Ferrari. Minimal degradation across extended stints. Engine temperatures running significantly cooler. This is not one isolated gain. It is layered advantage. Now imagine Sunday in Melbourne. Heavy fuel. Opening laps. Everyone fighting for position. If Verstappen's revised front wing delivers sharper bite into turn 1, he gains track position. If the rear remains stable through the flowing middle sector thanks to the blown diffuser evolution, he protects the tires. If the Ford mapping responds instantly on throttle exit, he builds a gap down the straight. That gap forces rivals to push harder. Pushing harder increases tire wear. Increased tire wear forces earlier pit stops. Earlier pit stops open strategic vulnerability. And once strategy becomes reactive, Red Bull thrives. But let us zoom out even further. Because this is the first Grand Prix of the season. Momentum starts here. If Spec 1.1 delivers the estimated half-second improvement per lap, that validates Red Bull's development model immediately. Wind tunnel correlation. Simulation accuracy. Track execution. When all three align at race 1, development becomes faster. More aggressive. More confident. Rivals, meanwhile, begin chasing. And chasing in Formula 1 is expensive. It creates risk. It creates instability. And instability over a long season compounds. That is why what Red Bull revealed feels so significant. It suggests they are not experimenting. They are executing. We are only days away from lights out in Australia. The first corner will be chaotic. The opening stint will be tense. But if the RB22 delivers exactly what the data suggests, rear stability, sharper front rotation, cleaner hybrid deployment, thermal headroom from Ford, then this may not just be an upgrade story. It may be the beginning of another controlled campaign. And the real question heading into Melbourne is this. Are we about to witness the first step of a season that is already leaning heavily in Red Bull's favor, before anyone else has time to respond? Now we arrive at the part that truly changes the narrative. Because if everything Red Bull revealed translates perfectly to Melbourne, this is not just an upgrade story. It is a warning. Think about the structure of what they have built. A platform that already completed over 2,000 laps without major failure. A power unit running 12 degrees cooler than expected. Race simulations showing a clear long-run advantage. Then, on top of that foundation, they add aerodynamic refinement. Sharper front end. More efficient rear stability. Cleaner airflow management. Improved hybrid deployment. That is not a patch. That is escalation. And here is the deeper implication. When a team begins the season with reliability and pace already aligned, development becomes surgical. They are no longer searching for balance. They are polishing it. And polishing a fast car is far more dangerous than trying to fix a slow one. Now imagine the race scenario. Verstappen exits turn 1 in clean air. The revised front wing allows precise rotation through the slower corners. The blown diffuser keeps the rear planted through the flowing middle sector. The Ford mapping delivers consistent power without clipping down the straights. Lap after lap, the RB22 remains stable. No overheating spikes. No sudden performance drop. That consistency builds pressure. Because when rivals cannot close within the first few laps, doubt begins to creep in. Engineers start questioning strategy. Drivers push harder. Mistakes become more likely. And that is when Red Bull usually extends the gap. But here is the branch that matters most long-term. If Melbourne confirms that the estimated half-second per lap improvement is real, the psychological impact is enormous. The first race defines belief. If Ferrari or Mercedes leave Australia already behind in race trim, they are forced into aggressive development. Aggressive development carries risk. Risk can destabilize correlation. Correlation loss slows progress. Meanwhile, Red Bull continues refining a concept that already works. That is how championships quietly shift before mid-season even arrives. And do not forget something critical. The cooling advantage from Ford is scalable. Hotter circuits later in the calendar amplify thermal challenges for everyone. If Red Bull truly has extra headroom, that advantage grows over time, not shrinks. Which means what we see in Australia could be only the beginning. We are days away from the first lights out of the year. Spec 1.1 is ready. The refined Ford mapping is ready. The aerodynamic balance correction is ready. The platform is stable. So here is the final thought. If the RB22 delivers exactly what Red Bull revealed, if the numbers hold, if the integration performs under pressure, then Australia may not simply open the season. It may quietly reveal who is already in control of it. And the uncomfortable question for the rest of the grid is this: are they about to spend the entire year trying to catch something that has already pulled away?